Abducted 40-year-old Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, née Ben, and her 7-year-old son, Williams Ibori Jr., have safely broken free from their captors yesterday evening after a 5 million naira ransom payment was delivered secretly to an anonymous drop-off location, completely shifting the narrative of a tragic daylight ambush by heavily armed gunmen that had originally plunged Ogara, the ancestral home of former Delta State Governor, Chief James Nephew Ibori, into intense fear and tension, highlighting a terrifying surge in local insecurity, as this victim is the youngest widow of the respected Ibori family patriarch, retired soldier, and former Onugbogodo of Oharefe, High Chief William Boyi Agbekanya Ibori, who was born on February 2, 1942, and passed away from a heart attack at age 76 on July 11, 2018, leaving behind his wives, Mrs. Elizabeth and Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, alongside 9 children and 18 grandchildren, while her father, Chief Lucky Ben, recently confirmed exclusively to Osazuwakonedo News Media that his daughter is currently 40 years old, which clarifies historical timelines and corrects past social media rumors by establishing that she was approximately 32 years old when her high-profile traditional wedding ceremony was celebrated in Oharefe on Saturday, March 17, 2018, just 4 months before her husband's demise, meaning this high-profile abduction has severely worsened local anxiety by coming on the heels of another recent violent incident in Ogara where local farmer Mr. Vincent Adoja was brutally murdered on his farm and his wife kidnapped for ransom, forcing Ethiopia West Local Government Council Chairman Honorable Chris Onigba to vow an aggressive security crackdown as terrified residents demand urgent, decisive tactical intervention from the police command to halt the growing criminal epidemic, though a wave of deep relief has swept through the family space after a close source confirmed the breakthrough directly via an urgent text message stating that they have gone to drop the ransom and she has been released to them, following aggressive backdoor negotiations that forcefully broke down the heavily armed gang's initial staggering 150 million naira ransom demand. The victims regained their freedom yesterday night after the family successfully delivered a 5 million naira ransom payment to the kidnappers. The breakthrough was confirmed through an urgent message sent by a close family source to Osazuwakonedo, expressing immense relief as the ordeal came to an end. "My wife just sent me this. They have gone to drop the ransom and she has been released to them," the family source stated. The armed gang had initially slammed a staggering 150 million naira ransom demand on the family shortly after the violent ambush. However, tense negotiations over the last few days successfully brought the demand down to 5 million naira, which was physically delivered to a designated drop-off point before the victims were handed back over to their relatives. Both victims are currently being reunited with their family members. This high-profile kidnapping occurs amidst apparent sharp decline in public safety within the Ethiopia West local government area. Tragic daylight abduction of 40-year-old Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, née Ben, and her 7-year-old son, Williams Ibori Jr., by heavily armed gunmen has plunged Ogara, the ancestral home of former Delta State Governor, Chief James Nephew Ibori, into intense fear and tension, highlighting a terrifying surge in local insecurity, as this victim is the youngest widow of the respected Ibori family patriarch, retired soldier, and former Onugbogodo of Oharefe, High Chief William Boyi Agbekanya Ibori, who was born on February 2, 1942, and passed away from a heart attack at age 76 on July 11, 2018, leaving behind his wives, Mrs. Elizabeth and Omotsiri Syrian Ibori, alongside 9 children and 18 grandchildren, while her father, Chief Lucky Ben, recently confirmed exclusively to Osazuwakonedo News Media that his daughter is currently 40 years old, which clarifies historical timelines and corrects past social media rumors by establishing that she was approximately 32 years old when her high-profile traditional wedding ceremony was celebrated in Oharefe on Saturday, March 17, 2018, just 4 months before her husband's demise, meaning this high-profile abduction has severely worsened local anxiety by coming on the heels of another recent violent incident in Ogara where local farmer Mr. Vincent Adoja was brutally murdered on his farm and his wife kidnapped for ransom, forcing Ethiopia West Local Government Council Chairman Honorable Chris Onigba to vow an aggressive security crackdown as terrified residents demand urgent, decisive tactical intervention from the police command to halt the growing criminal epidemic. Close family sources confirmed to our correspondent that the victims, the wife of the late High Chief Williams Boyi Agbekanya Ibori and their 7-year-old son, Williams Ibori Jr., were intercepted last week Wednesday and bundled away by kidnappers on their way to Ogara. The victims have now spent 9 agonizing days in captivity. According to insider family sources, the criminal ring initially demanded a staggering 150 million nairas ransom for their release. However, following frantic negotiations, the kidnappers slashed the demands to 5 million nairas. Despairing relatives revealed that the family is still struggling to raise the 5 million nairas sum to secure the freedom of the mother and child. The late husband of the abducted woman, High Chief Williams Ibori, was the revered Onubrogodo, traditional spokesman of Oharefe in the Ogara Kingdom. A retired soldier and a member of the Delta State Advisory and Peace-Building Council, he passed away in 2018. This direct attack on his immediate family underscores a dangerous breakdown of security in the Ethiopia West local government area, spearheading fear that no one is safe. Just days ago, on Monday, June 29, 2026, a brutal attack occurred on a farm in Ogara. A local farmer, Mr. Vincent Adoja, was ambushed and brutally murdered by armed assailants between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. while working on his land. The attackers butchered Mr. Adoja on the spot before forcefully carting away his wife into the forest. Africa Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEEJ, has expressed deep concern over the acquittal of former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Diezani Alison Madueke, by a United Kingdom court, describing the verdict as a troubling moment for the global fight against corruption, illicit financial flows (IFFs), and impunity, a statement that follows the June 17, 2026, ruling at the Southwark Crown Court in London, where a jury cleared Alison Madueke of all 6 bribery charges brought against her by the UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, after a 5-month trial and 46 hours of deliberation, while her co-defendants, oil executive Olutimbo Oyinde and her brother, Doya Gama, were also acquitted, bringing a dramatic end to a saga that began more than a decade ago, a development that prompted ANEEJ to take immediate action today, June 23, 2026, by launching a critical 2-day capacity-building workshop in Abuja in collaboration with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, a body domiciled within the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering, SQML, an arm of the EFCC, to aggressively equip civil society organizations, CSOs, with the necessary tools to track, combat, and dismantle these very same illicit financial flows across Nigeria. Alison Madueke served as Nigeria's powerful oil minister from 2010 to 2015 and was the first female president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Her tenure was immediately hit by controversy when former Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi alleged that $20 billion in oil revenue had gone missing under her watch. In May 2015, just as the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan was handing over power to Muhammadu Buhari, Alison Madueke left Nigeria for London. By October 2015, the UK's NCA arrested her on suspicion of bribery and money laundering, seizing her passport and sparking a 13-year international investigation. For years, Alison Madueke's legal team fiercely resisted attempts by Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to extradite her back to Abuja to face separate corruption charges. Her prolonged stay in the UK was repeatedly defended on critical medical grounds. Her lawyers disclosed that she was diagnosed with triple-negative cancer, describing it as the most aggressive form of breast cancer. Over the decade, her defense stated that she underwent multiple major surgeries and extensive chemotherapy treatments in London hospitals, leaving her at one point in a coma due to medical complications. These health battles, combined with the extreme complexity of cross-border financial tracking, left her on continuous UK bail for 8 years before she was formally charged in 2023. Despite prosecutors presenting evidence that oil contractors funded a life of luxury for her in London, including spending £2 million at Harrods, securing private jet flights, and occupying high-end
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.